Hello and good morning. Welcome back to another vlog. I thought I would just pick up the camera because I haven't in the last week, so I'm going to try and get back into it. This next couple of days is pretty special here in Bali, and it is the day of silence on Saturday, which is Nepi. Now, this is going to be my first experience of Nepi because I wasn't here last year, and it's a really culturally quite significant time here in Bali because the whole island shuts down. There are no flights to the island, and from 6 a.m. to I think 6 a.m. the next day, if I'm corrected, there's no electricity, there's no lights, you stay inside, and you're actually not allowed to be on the streets or go out because the police do make sure that you stay inside. It sounds quite intense, but it's supposed to be really significant for introspection, reflection, a really time for you to be at peace and to enjoy silence. And in terms of the reasons for it, so far from what I've gathered, is that all of the evil spirits are attracted to the island because there's lots of parades and they have these figures that they make that are to represent evil, and then all the evil spirits gather on the island, and then when they arrive there's nobody here. So I think that's the point of it. And then it's supposed to be a really amazing time, but I do have to be quite conscious that I have to make sure that I have enough food and water and things like that because I'm not going to be going out. I also need to check do I need candles and things like that because I'm staying at a guest house which is actually super nice. Let me just show you a little bit of the outside. It is a good day, which I'm sorry, wet season just seriously needs to go. But look. So, good morning. Welcome to another day in Canggu, Bali. I'm going to take you along. It's a fairly average day for me. I have quite a few client calls to do later, but we are going to go and get coffee because it's I think just gone 8 a.m. here. I'm going to get coffee. We're going to be at B work, doing lots of work, and probably going to end up at Revolver for some food later. And it might not be that exciting, apologies, but I thought I would just take you along. Oh, we will be going to the gym at some point. The way that I did not say I would be going to the gym is quite funny, considering I am dressed to go to the gym. So we're going to go to Body Factory. Body Factory is the nicest gym here in Bali, in my opinion. There are so many great gyms. It's also the most expensive, but for Women's Day, they did an offer which is 30% off, and I ran. And I got a 12-week membership, which worked out really good cost-wise. So the recovery area there is stunning. So we are probably going to use the sauna, do a workout, enjoy our time there. So yeah, I will see you later. at my accommodation. I hope that the aircon isn't too loud for you guys, but hopefully this will fix it. So I've just finished a consultation with one of my amazing clients back in the UK, Lucy, and it was such an amazing chat. I feel bad because every consultation I've had this week so far, it's Thursday, has cried. And I know that my process of coaching is more therapy based than it is just like nutrition science at this point, because that's what people need from my coaching experience and what they need to break through their self-limiting beliefs around their body and food to actually access what it is they truly want and to get to their goals. So something that I brought up with Lucy was that she used a word that I'm not too fond of when it comes to in my sphere of language, and that is control. She used it maybe like 10 times within the first 5 minutes, and it was in her check-in form a lot. So I said, hey, I just want to bring this up. I want to give you a perspective on language and what using certain language reinforces subconsciously in us when we choose it, because words are so powerful, even the ones in our brain and our thoughts. So I said, look, when you're not in control, what are you? Because it's a very black and white term, and it's in line with all or nothing. And when you live in this kind of like fear-based response of trying to control something, it's very energy expensive and it consumes a lot of you. So my fear is that when you are having a good week, and that was, she's doing amazingly, and it's been 2-3 weeks now where she's really felt in control of her food, which is wonderful. But I needed to brief her that this sense of control, it could change, and I don't want her to have a blip and then immediately assess that as being out of control, because that's the reality of using that word. If I'm not in control, I'm out of control. There is no other intermediate. So I needed her to change her dialogue around how she views food and what she uses it in relation to it, so that she can actually move forward and be more compassionate to herself. I'm going to say this as well, because I think it's an important teaching moment. When it comes to overeating, binge eating, people's emotional issues with food, something that's a bit of a weird concept, and I hope I get this across efficiently in this video for you, is food can be a replacement for love. And when you use food to replace that, it's because you don't have love for yourself. You're trying to find it in something other. And when I said to a client recently, it's like, hear me out. What if your binge eating is because you lack love? And she went, but I'm very loved in my relationship and I give love. And I'm like, no. Love for yourself. Because if you have love for yourself, that is going to manifest into your behaviors. What does somebody who loves themselves do with food? Well, they look after themselves. They eat nourishing foods. They see it as a priority. They want to look after themselves. When you have no love for yourself, that is going to show in areas of your life. And I need to increase that alongside making sure that nutrition is balanced and that we're not falling into bad behaviors with it in terms of skipping meals and doing all of those things. And it's a weird thing for me to say. It's like, well, the antidote to binge eating is love, and more specifically, self-love. And the lack of that, as I said, is going to be very destructive, because your view of yourself is actually quite low. And the only way you get that dopamine, you get that pleasure in your life, is from food and the experience of it. So that's just something that I find super interesting when it comes to psychology, and I try to get across to my clients, because if I didn't help them increase that, and I gave them the illusion of control, and I just further perpetuated that in my coaching, I would be doing them such a disservice. If I was to give them a meal plan and to give them calories and macros and give them the illusion of control in the sense of it, what happens when I'm not there? What happens when they are out of control? Like, that's the reality they're building for themselves. So I have to reconstruct their operating system and their subconscious and able to unlock a new version of themselves for them. So I love doing that, and I love seeing them have that aha moment of, oh, okay, like, I understood that I struggle with emotions and I use food for comfort, but actually, what am I doing to fill that space? Because if I don't address that, what I'm going to continually do is just live in the confines of the prison that I built for myself, which is I'm not lovable, I'm not enough, I have to change. And so many of my clients come to me wanting to change as a reaction, and that reaction is based upon fear. They've either been told it's either something they feel that they should be doing, and you got to think about the energy behind that. Like the energy that's driving that, it's very negative, and it's coming from a place of fear, scarcity, lack. I'm not enough, I need to be something different. How can you find peace with food and yourself if you're always trying to be something other than you're not? So what I need to do is be able to teach my clients that actually you right now is wonderful. It's brilliant. You are an amazing person. And I said to this client, like, I see how lovable you are. Like, I know you well, but you are kind, you are caring, you're generous. Why is it you can't see that for yourself? And where are your blind spots with that? And normally that is just in the wiring of their hardware and their subconscious mind. So not to get too deep on that, I thought I would just give you a bit of an interesting perspective on how I tackle a very superficial problem when it comes to food, like binge eating. And it would make sense, right? You come to a nutritionist to find control over your eating. You want somebody to manage it because you feel like you need to be controlled and you don't trust yourself. So who am I not to teach you how to trust yourself, right? And show you that what you've built for yourself is essentially a lie. Your hardware, your subconscious is built on the narrative that you're not enough, that you need to be something different, that you need to change. And you can choose change. You can choose to be something different out of a place of creativity, of love for yourself and compassion. But if fear is the driving motive and that's your fuel source, what an incredibly toxic and cruel world that is to live in. And your body knows that. It knows it very well. And it will show you that in health issues, in sleep issues, in emotional regulation. It's a very harsh world and environment to live in. And that's not what the body finds peace in. So I'm going to end this brief TED Talk. I hope that's helpful for anybody. And I now need to go to B work because I have another consult in 40 minutes. And yeah, I can't wait. I've got 2 more and then I've got an evening client. Are they all UK based? Yeah, they're all in the UK. And I love talking to my UK clients. And one's from Newcastle, Fran. I just find Northerners, it's an immediate connection. And if you're from the UK and you're either from the south or the north, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But I grew up in Yorkshire, so for me it's like I instantly get that dry sense of humour, that self-deprecation, and that helps me a lot with coaching because I understand kind of like their view of the world and how communication is. And yeah, it's just great fun. So I'm really excited for the consults that I've got later, and we'll get some food at some point. I've already had a coffee, tea. I went to Revolver that I think I filmed a clip of. And I was doing a lot of journaling there. And maybe I'll save this for another video, but I've been looking at a mindset coach called Peter Crone, who when I say I have binged his content in the last 48 hours, I'm not even joking. I think I've listened to 2 podcasts of his already today. And the level of perspective it's giving me, not only for myself, but for my clients in terms of like helping them with their problems, is insane. And I just love having that and feeling like as a coach, I'm still progressing and I'm learning new things and I'm able to pass that on to my clients. So maybe, I think I, in BGS, took a little clip of me listening to a podcast with him. So go on his YouTube, watch all of his videos, his like interactions with his crowd. Sometimes he does like live seminars, and he'll talk to a participant in the crowd and help them process something that they're going through. And that real life, like in it at that moment, is something that is just so inspiring and like to watch because you see that like connection for them. And if you ever get a chance to watch the Tony Robbins documentary, I'm Not Your Guru, I think on Netflix, there's a moment in it in which he does an an intervention with a woman in the crowd, and he says, like, who needs help? She puts her hand up, and he says, what do you want from life? And she was like, I want to be healthy. I want to make better choices with my food. And within seconds, that man does not believe for an ounce that that is her truth. And within seconds, he ends this like intervention with talking about how she needs to reconcile with her dad and how she's so strong. And he goes away afterwards and he's like, I can't believe, like, that's how superficial things present. We present food as like a very superficial thing to distract us from the real issue that we need to deal with. Like shiny object syndrome. So we distract ourselves with the really critical emotions that we need to address and the difficulties in our life, and we present something like that. So that's not to like invalidate her reality. That's what she wanted from the conversation. But it's like, you don't know what you want until somebody like helps you access that. So I found that so fascinating. If you get a chance to watch it, watch it. I love Tony Robbins. So yeah, I'll see you later, guys. Bye. Okay, team, welcome back. We are now at B-Work. I have a consult in 12 minutes to get started, so that's very exciting. I am just going through the check-in form that my client submitted, so I get a rough gauge of kind of how a week's been. I've also got access to her food diary, so I'm going to have a quick peek at her food album and see what her meals are looking like currently. She's been doing so well, and I'm super proud of her. But just walked here with an umbrella because I swear to you, this wet season just doesn't want to go. It's like nearly April, and I know I would probably have the same reflection in England, right? Wherever you go, the weather is always going to be a little bit hit and miss, but really hoping that the weather will be better now at this point in Bali. So, first world problems, complaining about the weather, I realise, but yeah, it's kind of going to make me think and reflect about like how I want to spend the next wet season, whether I want to be in Bali for it, because it's fine, it's just could be somewhere else, could be somewhere hotter, we will see. So I'm gonna do this consult, then I'm gonna get some food, and I also forgot to pick up my goddamn laundry, which I'm fuming about because I literally have nothing, and it's been at the laundry place for like 2 days, so I need to get that on the way home. And what else was I thinking of that I needed to update you on? Oh, today, I don't think I've actually mentioned this in a vlog previously, but the other week I did go to have a consultation with a specialist at a hospital here in Denpasar to see a psychiatrist. Yes, I now have a psychiatrist. Not something I thought would be on the cards for me this year, but I went to explore a diagnosis of ADHD because my mental rumination and preoccupation of thoughts and the way that I think, it was just researching for the last year and a half, giving me the idea that potentially neurodivergence was something that I needed to check out for myself. And within 15 minutes, she agreed with me, everything that I was saying. We went through like these 2 screens of like check boxes that were the criteria for it. You had to have a certain amount of like yes, no, often, all the time, etc. And so I'm now trying medication. I'm going to be honest, it felt like a little bit scary. I was super ill the other week, so I didn't start it then. And I was on it Monday, Tuesday. Today's Thursday. Yesterday I took it, and I just really struggled. It made me feel really jittery. I didn't feel myself. I couldn't concentrate, which is obviously the opposite of what you would think a stimulant in an ADHD medication would be for you. For anybody that knows ADHD, I'm on Concerta 36 milligrams. I don't know if that means much to you guys, but I'm only aware of like Ritalin as a medication. So I have a podcast all about nutrition and ADHD, and I've also done like my personal journey with ADHD just to bring anybody that's interested or understanding that for themselves up to speed. Because guess what category are the most underdiagnosed? Women in their 30s. Love that. So yeah, a really interesting thing the psychiatrist said to me, and I did pick this up on the podcast, so I'm not going to repeat myself, go and listen to that. But she did say that the hormonal fluctuations you experience in your 30s into your 40s can unveil and unmask a lot of the difficulties that you've just been able to cope with, and exasperates how much we find it difficult to live with ADHD and having an overactive brain. So I didn't take it yesterday because I just didn't feel myself. Today I feel okay, which is a bit of a shame because I didn't think it would be a bit hit and miss like that. I thought it would be quite consistent and I wouldn't feel different on different days taking it. And I don't really like that level of uncertainty, especially when like I need to be present for my clients. The first day I took it, I felt like I had the best consultations I'd ever had in my life. And I mentioned this in the podcast again, but I felt like I was just super present, able to converse with my clients way better than I have previously, which was just something I wasn't expecting. And I didn't have consultations on Wednesday yesterday, but I do today, and I just didn't want to risk like not being myself and showing up for my clients differently. So yeah, I don't really know how to continue with that. I'm maybe just going to have to try it again. But over the weekend it's neppy, it's the day of silence. It's not really something that the psychiatrist said I should take on the weekends if I didn't really feel necessary for it, kind of like a Monday to Friday working situation, just to give me focus in my working day and to be able to carry out tasks. So bit of a roller coaster, which I wasn't quite anticipating, but that's life. So I'm going to jump on my call. I will see you later. Okay team, I'm officially done for the day. I am back home now. I finished my consults, which were so amazing. I always come away from like a day of consulting feeling so grateful to have such amazing clients. And I know that sounds really cringy to say, but I never don't love what I do as a job, and being able to help people crush their self-limiting beliefs and be able to actually change their mindset when it comes to food and their body is just such a privilege. So I have a date with watching the Kardashians, and I will love you and leave you guys, and I will see you in the next vlog. I apologize that I haven't really shown you many sights, and this has been a little bit more of me being a chatty Cathy, but I just want to be able to give you an insight into what my life is like. And to be honest, I work a lot. I am never really far from my laptop. I go to the same places. I do the same things. Routine is very important to me. I don't do a lot of different things every day. So yeah, boring, but that's my life and I love it. So I will see you in the next vlog. Mwah.